Hi, my name is Michele Hartwig, and welcome to the Dirt Trail Running Podcast. We just got done having Frozen Gnome race last weekend, so I am here tonight with Kyle that ran the 10K, and Kyle podcasts with us all the time. And we thought we would talk about the 10K section of the race of Frozen Gnome race. So. You can introduce yourself. Even though I introduced yourself, I suppose.
I'm Kyle Braund. I'm a student at Judson University in Elgin, not too far from Crystal Lake. Ran the 10K on Saturday at Frozen Gnome, and it was awesome, which I'm sure we're gonna talk about in greater detail coming up here. So
So we met you in 2021 at the Run Show in Chicago. Yep. So you haven't done a ton of the Ornery Mule racing events, but you've been volunteering at a lot of them.
Right, yeah. Not a lot of like actual racing itself, not a lot of trail running at all in general.
Yeah.
But I think since meeting you and everybody else here at Omar, I think like this is like my base trail running community now. And I think that being a part of it has helped me grow as a runner, as a trail runner, as a person. And I'm really excited to, kind of keep building connections with you and everybody else here and get more into it.
Yeah, so and you're in college right now at Judson College, and you run, talk about what you do there.
Yeah, I'm on the cross country and track team, specialize in the distance events. It was just kind of logical, the further running of like ultra running and trail running and things like that. It just kind of makes sense, like that's something I would gravitate towards. And I'd say the transition's been honestly as seamless as it could be for somebody like me as young as I am. So,
we're so glad that we met you at the event. So what drew you over to our booth, and did you know about trail running and Ornery? Did you know about Ornery Mule racing at that time?
No, I actually had no idea. I was just exploring because that's what I like to do.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever I'm somewhere, I can just gain information about stuff. I'm a learner. That's just kind of who I am. And just kind of exploring all the different booths that were out there. I saw a lot of the road marathon stuff, because that's what most of the expo was about. It was like road running, marathoning, stuff like that. But you guys brought something different to the table in trail running and distances farther than a marathon. And I think what really got me was, first of all, the merch. It's always amazing.
Yeah.
That feather tank that I got there, I wore that all throughout that summer. It was great. I still love it.
Yeah.
And then that little cutout thing that you had, it said, I think I'd rather run 50 miles than, do whatever else. And I'm like, it sounds crazy. And that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Had you heard of people running 50 miles before that? Or
very minimally. I had just started hearing about it and exposing myself to it. Like when I heard about like the 100-mile races, like I'd heard of like Western States and like the major, very major races in that category.
Yeah.
But always thinking like, oh, people run marathons and that's their goal. Well, why stop there?
Yeah.
Like if I'm the distance guy at school, throughout high school and now into college, I mean, just kind of makes sense, like there's got to be a next step to it.
Yeah. And what is distance for college and high school? Like, what do they call that?
So in high school, generally it'd be like the 2-milers in track, mile and 2-mile, and cross country, you run a 5K.
Okay.
In college cross country, you do 8K. I know like NCAA sometimes does 10Ks, I think.
Okay.
And then the distance events would be like the 5K, 10K on the track.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your coach think about it? Do they know that you have this interest in the longer distance now?
So we had a cross country coach and track coach my first 2 years, and it wasn't obviously as big of an interest when he was there. I think if he would have been around this year, it might have been a little bit of kind of pick and choose, but now that we have a new coach, he's a bit more laid back when it comes to like what we kind of do outside of school revolving around our running. And so there really hasn't been any issue or input at all. It's really just kind of been me and my friends. Like I talk about it with them. They at least seem to show a little interest in it.
Yeah.
I mean, even if, okay, Kyle, you're crazy.
So like a 10K is actually, farther than most of them are. I mean, you guys are like your training runs. What What kind of distance are they? They're do you training run a 10K?
I mean, a lot of what we just do is base mileage. Because
Okay.
we're not like a elite program or anything, you know.
Okay.
Like a lot of them they're just there to run and they're on scholarship, and that's just kind of how it is. There's not really much changing that. But yeah, we probably run like in our base we run about 50, 60 miles a week.
Okay.
You know, so I mean, not super high, but it's not like you're just out there plugging around or anything.
Do you do that like split up runs, or is that just one run a day? Or-
Sometimes we'll double up some days. I personally really like to. Yeah, usually when I do a double day, I'll usually do like 12 or 13 miles that day. But I also do just love like long runs and building up a baseline. Because if I can get to where like, 7-8 miles is like an easy recovery day, like, hey, that feels pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just something I've always just kind of been a little more distance inclined than maybe some of the others and maybe some of the other people my age. So yeah, I think that kind of just building up that baseline, I haven't seen any real negative effects to it yet. If anything, it feels like the more I run, the happier and better I feel.
Yeah.
So
you like to run?
Yeah,
It makes
absolutely. Understatement there. Yeah. Yeah.
So running is kind of your life, and that's where that's what you want your jobs to be like after college.
It is now, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, if anything, now I really would want to work somewhere like here, where I could just be like consistent part of the community, because that's really what it is for me. It's not even about the running; it's about the group of people that are here.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's unmatched. You don't find this anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, we're working on making sure we have a spot for you when you're ready.
Awesome. Yes, we will. We'll talk about that.
But we need to, we're going to need to expand and, we've got some ideas in the works, but like some more races and just some different things. We got some fun stuff.
Okay,
in
awesome.
fact, I'm heading out to Arizona to meet with Caleb. We're going to talk about some stuff and kind of plan out more to come for Ornery Mule Racing, because we like to get together and we all love to run, and it's such a great community, like whatever level
Exactly.
we are.
Yes.
It and trails just kind of brings everybody together. And you were way out in the front. Spoiler, Kyle won the 10K or the 10K. And we'll talk all about that. But and then you hung out at the finish line and made new friends. I should look up we had a really great volunteer. Did you get to talk to him for a while?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
What's his name? Let me see if I can pull that up.
Off the top of my head.
We'll have to look that up. Let me see. I'll look. So yeah, he was signed up for a race this weekend.
Right.
And I'm not sure which race it was. Let me see the public volunteer file. And someone told him, well, before you run an ultra, you really should go volunteer at one. So he signed up to volunteer, and he was like a super volunteer. He signed up as Shanman Park. Shanman is his name.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I don't know which race he was doing because he was so busy cheering for everybody. But I think he's going to be a regular with us now. At least we're going to be like knocking on his door trying to get him over.
Yeah. No, I talked to him for a little while right before I left, and he was an amazing guy. He looked like he had a great heart and really wanted to be a part of it. And those are the types of people that I really like, just personally. I always have. So I hope he could come out more. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, and he didn't know any of us.
Right.
And so he just showed up at like 5:30, 5:45 in the morning.
Gosh, that's crazy.
And then I had him be a human arrow, like right over by the bathrooms there.
Okay.
'Cause it was very well marked, but there was like snow marks to the building.
Yeah.
Of people, and I was kind of afraid that like the first runner might just see those footprints and start following it.
Right.
So we put him as a human arrow there, and then he came over to the finish line and helped us pass out awards, and he was cheering, and he loved the food. He was
it's hard not to, yeah.
like the pulled pork sandwiches that the Royals were making, and all the homemade soups, and like every time I looked at him, he's like, "Ooh, this is fun." Yeah. So yeah, which is different. You guys don't have pulled pork sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly.
at like road races and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's been really interesting for me to see, like, because a lot of people that enjoy running, they just want to do everything at once, and they just start signing up for every, like they know that, like people talk them into, oh, if you can run 8 miles, then you can do a 50K,
Right.
you can do a 50 mile. But one thing I think I've been super impressed with you is you've been very planning about how you're going to do it. Like, you're not just like going to peer pressure, going like, even when I first met you, like, Kettle, you had done really well at Galena, and Kettle sold out instantly.
Right.
And I'm like, I'd really like to see what Kyle could do. And I offered you a spot into Kettle, and you're like, no, it doesn't fit my training plan. So, but that impressed me, that because that takes a willpower of your end goal to not just jump into everything. So I think that's going to be really interesting with your career. Can you talk would you want to share a little bit about like kind of what you're planning and how you want to work your way into ultra?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've always been a big picture person. I always think that there's always more if you just keep, climbing the rope a little bit. And so I think that the patience that is kind of manifested through like my first couple years of college and getting into trail running, I think it's a lot of just wanting to make the most of where I am like currently, while also looking at the big picture. So like I have at that time I had about 2 years left of college, now 3 semesters.
Oh, so exciting.
Right. Yeah. like only 3, but still 3,
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's a lot of patience and just kind of keeping the big picture in mind, that, I still have 3 semesters of eligibility in school. I still have, 2 track seasons, cross country, and kind of just directing my attention to that will also in turn help what I end up doing in trail running.
Yeah.
Like especially the cross country side of it, because that's the strength and the endurance, whereas track, more of the speed. So blending the both of them together, what the product will be in the future can be really something that, I can be proud of when I'm done, because I've done the work in both areas to now just kind of bring it all together, really.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing that I feel like a lot of trail runners miss, and I would love to advocate for them to do it, is you do need to do speed work.
Yeah.
And speed work is a lot of fun. Like, it's nice to change up your pace on running, and not just, I like a nice easy run where you can talk and be with friends, but it's fun to challenge yourself and change the pace within there. And it makes such a difference on the trail, because then you can run longer at a faster pace, but it's easy for you.
Right.
So the speed work helps you be able to run, your slow paces fast.
Exactly.
faster.
Yeah, everything builds on itself.
Yeah.
And like including all those components, like the strength training and the speed work and the long run, it's all super important for all of that, because they all just keep building on each other.
Yeah, I always get, like, right now I'm trying to just get my mileage up, because I got Black Canyon 100K,
Right.
and I feel a little, like, I think every ultra runner says this. I kind of feel like I don't quite have the mileage that I would like to have. It was a really busy time to try to manage it. And like every single race I've done for the last couple of years, I've managed to get quite a few 20-mile runs in. But, with Christmas, and then having, Kettle open up and Hennepin open up.
And still coming off Tunnel
permits.
Hill.
And I did
Yeah.
Tunnel Hill in November. So it wasn't really a long time. I had to like
Right.
recover. And then, my daughter visited, but everybody has all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I'm kind of panicking a little bit on the mileage. So I decided to cut back on the speed work, and then just kind of like do longer miles every single day. Because if I do speed work, then I'm like, and long miles, I'm kind of risking injury.
Right.
But like it like goes, oh man, I hope I'm not going to mess myself. Like I get worried when I drop the speed work. I really enjoy doing it, but I do feel like I need to increase the load right now. So but anyways, so we should get on to you running Frozen Gnome, and like you planned it for quite a while. So like you plan out your schedule. So how long has Frozen Gnome been on your radar?
Yeah. I mean, I had wanted to do it ever since I ran Galena. Like, oh, I want to do all of their races because they're awesome people. But no, I signed up right when I came back to school in August. It hadn't opened up too much before that.
Okay.
So yeah, I got the cheapest rate. So
yeah. We
Yep.
you know, everybody like we open registration to just give that out at a very low rate.
Yeah.
And then we keep it that way for a while because, you know, like all our loyal runners kind of know that. Like Sid
Right.
actually used to be the first one every single year to sign up. And we've been charging $65 for the 50K on day of registration for 10 years. And we won't be able to do it if we fill up.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
right now it's just kind of the people in the know that they can get in for that. But I'm glad that you got in at the good rate. It always makes me happy when people get in. But because as you get closer to the race, you know, like then I'm like overnighting shirts and like having to order more bibs and like it costs more money
Right.
as you get closer to the race to have people in. So it's always makes me happy. But yeah, so yeah, I think we opened registration in July. That's usually
Yeah.
what we shoot
Yeah, like
for.
late
So you got it in
July, yeah.
August. It might have been August. I think we might have been a little late this year on when we did it. So you started planning then. And when's your season for cross
So for
country?
cross country, we had gotten back to school in August, and that's when we started our like kind of base pre-season type of running and stuff like that. And then it goes from September to early November. Yeah, and I just really viewed a lot of that as okay. I'm still training for these races that I'm doing while working towards what I'm doing in season. And yeah, a lot of it just they just built on each other again. That's really what a lot of it was, because the 8K, not too different from a 10K.
Yeah.
Granted, that elevation, those climbs and butt slide hill are
Yeah.
a little different than what we do in college.
Yeah, what does what does a cross country course look like for college compared to like a
Honestly,
Frozen Gnome course?
Yeah, for us, it's almost the exact opposite. We run, especially like what our school does, we do a ton of flat courses with it'll be like 4 loops that are each like a mile, and you'll get maybe 100 feet total.
Okay.
Whereas, Frozen Gnome, you have 100 feet in the first mile.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a little bit different. We don't really run, what people would traditionally think of as cross country, like, over the river and through the wood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like that all the time. And we really don't have a lot of that around, well, maybe around here, but at least the courses that we run in general.
Yeah, at Veterans Acres where we have Frozen Gnome, there is the high school does cross country there, but it's not. We don't do those. It's the easier trails that we actually don't take people on. That they typically. I think I don't know their course, but whenever I've seen their course markings up, it's always the trails that we're not on.
Yeah, I see a lot of the signs around there, and it's usually the parts where okay, this is a lot more runnable than the other parts.
Yeah.
Or I can build up some good speed right here. And that's where I see a lot of those, okay, here's the mile marker sign and things like that. Because I do have a teammate that has run at VA before for their cross country season.
Oh, okay.
And he said it's one of the hardest courses I've ever done.
It is, yeah.
And,
That's what everybody tells us, that it's one of the harder cross country courses. So I was just wondering everywhere else what they look like.
Yeah, no, it's probably not much harder than that, really.
Okay.
Yeah, and only 5 miles. I say only 5 miles. I mean, if we could run 15K, I think that's what I'd probably prefer. But yeah, no, it's nothing like Frozen Gnome, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing about Frozen Gnome and in general our races out there, because I go out to Arizona a lot to visit my daughter, and my dad lives out there. And I got kind of worried about their elevation. Like there was a lot of climb within their in the races. I'm like, man, we don't have that much climb.
Right.
But then I got there, and it's so gradual. It's like a hill that you easily can run up, and it's really not that hard. Like I kept thinking, oh, the climb's gonna come, but then it never really came. Where by us, I mean, a lot of our hills are, I'm sure you ran them, but they're pretty steep.
Yeah, they definitely can be, especially back there in places like VA. And yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I can't run all those hills. Were you able to run them all?
I hiked a couple.
Okay.
One around like the 5 mile mark. Once you get out of, I don't really know what it's called, but there's a decent like almost road type stretch going back towards there's a loop, and then you would go up the big hill and you'd basically be back at like the parking lot. But instead we turned left. I don't really know exactly where it was.
Yeah.
But we turned left into that little shoot off trail, and I hiked almost that entire thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there were a few like that. Honestly, I think I hiked more downhills than uphills.
Oh, okay. Were you able to run down Butt Slide?
Yeah, I kind of jumped down Butt Slide. Yeah. Yeah, I jumped probably a third of the way, and then I caught myself and ran the rest, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times when we're running, we mainly run down that hill. But on race day it can get kind of slick.
Yeah, it was really slick. Yeah, I kind of just grabbed a tree and pushed off of that, and then pushed off the next tree to catch myself, and then just kind of kept going. That's what I did a lot.
Yeah. So were you in the lead the entire time?
No, I only took the lead about probably the 4th mile.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
wow.
I was with I think it was John Knudsen. I was with him.
Okay.
For the first 4 miles, yeah.
Wow. And were you guys like, what kind of pace did that feel like? Were you like just dying, or could you talk, or like what's that like when because it was very fast. One thing I should mention is at our races, because we tend to be, we have a lot of the shorter distance races, but a lot of our runners tend to be ultra people.
Right.
And very, very often the 50K people come through before the first 10K runner. But this year we had very fast 10K runners. Quite a few came in before, and Reese was the first 50K, and he's fast. Like that's really impressive that you guys were in front of him. But we'll get back to you racing. Like what did that feel like?
I'd say like the first half of the race, I might have been a bit too conservative.
Okay.
But, I didn't want to, just go absolutely insane those first 3 miles and then, climbing and just die out entirely. So yeah, probably left maybe a bit too much in the tank at the end, but Yeah,
you did finish with quite a bit of energy, but because you have to think about it, because like I actually have raced very few. I can only think of one like trail 10K distance. You usually do that on a road. So like, how do you pay? Like with all the hills, you have to really think about how to pace. I think there should be more races like that, because I think it's a really fun way to, like a shorter distance trail race. Like what a fun way there's not that many around.
It's like a good middle ground.
Yeah.
Because like those hills can be the big equalizers in a race like that.
Yeah.
Versus like the speed legs versus the climbing legs.
Yeah. So you think that next year, if you decide to do the 10K, or do you think you'll try to do the 50K, or do I need to add? I was sort of thinking about adding a middle distance. But I don't know. I don't like races that have way too many. Like you can go do the 5K, do the 10K, do the 15. Like your title's like 40 million different things.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it to keep like little nice, neat fields, and we're filling up, so it's not like we need to. But I do think it would be kind of fun to do a little bit longer distance for some people there, and that would be the only reason that I would add another distance.
Yeah. I would say at least the 10K. We'll put it like that. So, yeah, because I'm definitely doing Frozen Gnome next year, because I want to do it every year. It's an amazing race. And the people out there were great. I'm not gonna take the 50K off the table. Definitely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd be more than willing to do it if like scheduling and time and everything allows it.
And you'll be graduated.
No, I'll be a senior.
Oh, you'll be a senior. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, going into last semester. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you'll still have to think about that. And we got snow, so like
barely.
You're getting ready for the race, and there was no snow on the schedule. So like, how are you planning?
I was really debating, like, if it's not going to snow, I should just bring my cross country spikes and it's a cross country race now.
Yeah.
But then I woke up and I saw it was going to snow. Like, okay, snow is back on the menu and everything, so we're gonna just play it safe and take out the trail shoes and take it a bit slower maybe than we wanted to, but at least it's not like, oh, well, he set the record. Yeah, but it didn't snow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like put the asterisk next to it. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, because you knew the record and
Yeah.
you wanted to get that. Let's see, the record for
like 43:30 or something like that.
Yep, exactly. That's what it is.
Yeah, it was definitely in the back of my mind most of the time. And then I saw where I was at around the 4.5 mile mark. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, just going hard, just salvage what you can and try to do your best, basically.
Yeah, you did 45:35, but you also had to run with your shoes untied for quite a long time. So I'm wondering, that had to have cost you some time.
Yeah, I'd honestly say it did. Not too much, obviously. I don't think I would have gotten it either way, but
I can't imagine, like, if my shoes untied, I don't know if I'd be running as fast as I could.
Right. No, and I wasn't. No, it definitely added some time. I think I still had just gone out a bit too conservatively, and I would have probably stuck with the leader for a decent amount before that or after that still, because my shoe was untied from the first mile, a little bit before the first mile, almost to the 3 mile mark. And then I finally just said, okay, I gotta, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm basically falling out of my shoes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it definitely added a bit. And, 15 seconds to tie your shoe, like with gloves, like, okay, take the gloves off, tie the shoe, make sure it's actually going to stay tied.
Yeah.
And then put them back on and, get going again. So, but it all worked out in the end. So,
yeah,
that's what I'm.
Yeah, that's kind of, well, I mean, we all learn, like, every,
exactly.
Like, that was a lesson. Have you ever tried, like, because you said that you actually have problems with your shoes coming untied a lot.
And it's the right shoe for me. Whenever a shoe comes untied, it's the right shoe.
Yeah.
I don't know what I do differently, or if it's my running, or if it's how I tie the shoe, because I think I tie it the same way every time.
Is it is it a certain brand of shoe, or
I almost exclusively have worn Saucony shoes in the past. And I think it might be something to do with the laces. Okay. Because when I have like the round, like just kind of normal shoelaces, it's usually not a problem. But when it's those like the thin and like kind of wider ones, it seems to be like those.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's definitely something I'm going to look into.
And you actually said you double knot them.
Yeah, I always double knot my shoes, but sometimes it just slips out, I guess. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. When I went to the running event, they gave me some free, like those non-tie ones.
Right.
Have you ever tried
yeah,
those?
like the drawstring or something like that. Yeah. No, I've considered that. I've just never done it, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've had it for like a couple years and I haven't tried them on my shoes, and I do have to tie my shoes sometimes too. Sometimes they'll work their way loose. They usually don't come untied, but they might like loosen up a little bit. And I double knot as well. Yeah. Oh, that had to have cost you. So let's see, that's 43:30. It probably didn't cost you 2 minutes.
Right. No, maybe like a minute total. Cause I was just kind of clomping around in one of my shoes for that pretty much the whole time.
Yeah. So what did the course seem like to you? Like describe, did you know the course? I can't remember if you came out for training runs.
I knew part of it when I came out it was in November. And we had a big group run out there. We did run the majority of it.
Yeah.
But it was my first time and I was just kind of out there. And I was also like sometimes just waiting for Sid, like, Kyle, turn left. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Because I was just kind of, like run up and then come back and then run up, come back, But I think the course overall is really like everything I wish cross country was.
Yeah.
Honestly, because like it's a pretty brutal climbing, and it's there's some spots where you can pass, there's some spots where you can't pass, so it's some strategy involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you really like the climbing?
I love climbing. Yeah. It's not always fun. It's type 2 fun sometimes.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Is there anything that you do in training that makes you a better climber? I feel like I've never been a great climber, and I've done weights and stuff like that, but I don't know, mentally, is there something that you do?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say like almost everything, all the tough aspects of running are big mental things. But it's like training specific. I'd say like any type of speed work, really. Like just getting like the turnover and keeping fast feet on the hills so you're not like pounding into the ground, and exerting a ton of force into each step on the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my old cross country coach, he always just said fast feet up the hills.
Okay.
It's just kind of
Is that like short steps or just like, making sure your feet are not staying on the ground for a long period of time?
Right. Yeah. For me, it's kind of maximizing both. Like, stride out what you can, but don't, bounce so much that you're like putting on the brakes going uphill, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And just kind of staying on, the balls of your feet and toes. And
yeah.
Yeah. Just practicing good turnover, all the mechanics. And yeah.
Oh, that's good. We should have like a hill class, like, bring everybody out there one day and like have like you and Reese like kind of help teach all of us that aren't great climbers, some of those techniques that you guys are using, and we'll keep up with you.
Yeah. Reese would be teaching me a little bit more first too, because I'm definitely not like an expert at it still, but
yeah, no, you do pretty well.
Yeah, I did have to power hike a little bit, which Reese did show me on that group run we did. So
okay.
Yeah, thankful for that because it came in handy. Yeah.
One thing that I noticed about the winners and was like you guys all were such good sports. Like you each waited for the next person. You're like, oh, where's the second place guy? I want to go congratulate him. And all you top people, women and men, like you took time to talk to each other. That was really cool.
Yeah, no, the sportsmanship, that's huge for me because that's part of the community that we build here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, it all just comes back to, just being kind to people and appreciating the good efforts that we're all putting in. That's always been huge for me, definitely.
Yeah, and, like you talking about Reese, because Reese is, he's very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you both said you saw my daughter's awards that she made and you're like, I want to win that. But you guys also like 100% genuinely will help the other be the best they can be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So is it more fun for you when you have somebody that you need to be strategized? Like, like you're both, like you're, like you love Reese, you and Reese adore each other. When you're there racing, is it more fun knowing that you have to really plan that out, or how does that work on race day?
I'd say it's just, another part of, the sport and the love for it. Because without that strategy, it can almost be like kind of like monotonous, like, oh, I'm just out here with another hard effort and we'll see where it gets me.
Yeah.
But when you put like thought and strategy into it, it really adds another element of like you almost like, I wouldn't say like you identify with, like the effort that you put in or the results or anything. Cause I've never been about that. Like I always just, like the effort that I give, that's how it is. Like, but that's not, it doesn't define me, the award or anything, like the place, that's not what it's about. So yeah, I think like a lot of it's just the process, and that's where I find a lot of joy is in the planning, and then, the execution comes at the end, and it's a result of your plan. Cause, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. That's it. Yeah. Pretty much that's about it. Yeah.
And you run without, like your hair is just blowing in a way.
Yeah.
So do you do cross country that way as well?
It depends. I actually did just kind of get it trimmed a little bit.
Oh, you did?
Before Frozen Gnome, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of something that just kind of started at the end of high school and into college, and it's really just kind of been my thing, I guess. There was a woman at Galena that she walked up to me as I was hobbling back to our car when we were done, and she tried to stop me, and I turned around like I can't see her. I'm so out of it. I don't even know who's talking to me right now.
Yeah.
And I saw her, and she was just like, I saw you running around me, but running so many times.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just stop each time and be like, I love your hair. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And she was just like, yeah, you're really cool. That's about it.
Yeah.
Okay, have a good day. Like, man, like, I love that. And I love, like, there's so much like that in this community.
Yeah.
And that's just, every time, it just makes me smile. Like, that's
yeah, we should tell people when we think good things about
exactly.
them more often.
Because a lot of people, they don't hear it enough.
Yeah.
A lot of people might be thinking it, but they just don't ever say it. Like, that's... I love to be transparent and just, say what I'm feeling, because a lot of it is just appreciation, especially here. So like I want to share that.
Yeah.
And I really hope that other people feel that same way.
Yeah. Yeah. At Frozen Gnome, it is, at all the trail races, it does, like, people just support one another.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's just trail racing. And I don't know. You've done a lot of road racing. A lot of us trail run. I'm a pretty big trail runner. Do you think that there's a difference between trail racing and road racing?
So I really haven't done that much road racing at all either. But from what I've seen, it's I would say that road racing really is more about like the personal experience, and not really in a bad way.
Yeah,
it's just kind of how it is.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm doing this thing, I'm going to take home my medal, get my reward, maybe hang out with some friends afterwards. But like trail running, it's almost like an unwritten rule of trail running, where like, like you're here, like you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
And like the sportsmanship and the character and the kindness, that's just all really a product of that. And I think that it's such an integral part that it kind of like I said, it's just almost like part of, like what you sign up for.
Yeah.
Like that's just how trail running is.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, speaking of amazing, kind people, you got to see all the course marshals.
Yeah.
On the course. Like, talk about, like, so we have human arrows out there, and the race, we have an 8.5 hour cutoff. So they're out there being human arrows, and it's not like we have 75 people just interchanging them. These are people that are like eating their cold food at a corner, while they're out there for like 8 hours. Talk about, like what you saw out there, like what was fun about that.
Yeah, it was great. All of them were super encouraging. Like I didn't once not get a like, oh, good job, like you're doing great. It's always great to see Sid out on the course, just being himself. And he told me, he's like, Kyle, your shoe's untied. And I'm like, I know. Like, I should just stop. Okay, fine, I'm going to stop.
Yeah. And then Ultra Mom Nikki's probably like.
Yeah, and I didn't even see her. No, she didn't see me either.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was kind of bummed about that because my mom was like, I finally met Nikki. And I'm like, cool, I didn't even see her. But yeah, no, everybody out there was super, super helpful. And, just keeping everybody motivated and happy and having a good time.
How easy was it to follow the course? Like, pretty much every turn, did we have a person there?
Yeah. Every turn where I would have gotten confused, which I do pretty easily.
Okay.
I'd say it was almost like perfectly marked. I wouldn't change a thing really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially like the where you had it sometimes on trees, there would be like little plates or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. That helped out a lot, especially when I was like looking down, trying not to fall.
Yeah.
And then I would see something like kind of shiny up there, like, oh, air. Okay, I gotcha. Yep. So yeah, really drew like my attention personally, and I think it was great.
Yeah. The Jeffs do a great job. They've been doing it for as long as I can remember. There are very few years that they weren't the ones doing it, and
gotcha.
They work so hard, all of them, and the course marshals that are out there. A lot of them have been doing it from our very first year, and we're so appreciative of them. And it's when we get at the finish line, I hear so often people are like, "Oh, I love dancing." The dancing couple, they were calling Sid and Nikki, the dancing couple out there, and then all the cinnamon water aid stations.
Cinnamon water.
Did you stop at any of the aids? They're unofficial aid stations, so if you look on our website, it doesn't say we have an aid station.
No, I didn't even see anything out there.
Yeah,
no,
there's not
kind
really.
Of a blur, really.
Yeah, they do have water and cinnamon water. I think I've heard. Not race provided, but very much appreciated by many. So you got to see. Did you get to see Jeff Lennard out there?
Yeah. Yep. I did see Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually got to run the race this year.
Oh, very cool.
He had a couple people, like we have the relay, which was a new ad,
Yeah.
which I kind of lumped that in with the 10K sort of people. Like a lot of them hadn't really been on trails, and we had a really nice group that came out for one of the training runs out there, and the Jeffs are so good. They have a caboose and then like someone out front, and they kind of talk about all the different trails. And did you get to hear some of the stories about why they call certain sections?
No, I didn't hear any of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. When Jeff will take you on a tour, he's really good at like telling you the names of the different trails. And so a lot of the relay teams, this was kind of some of their first experience on trails and had a lot of fun. So yeah, it's, we really appreciate them. And it was so fun having, introducing people to it, and because trail running's great.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I'll have to set up a run with Jeff, and he can tell me about a lot of that stuff. Yeah,
we need to do that.
Really cool.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. And then Soul Crusher, for sure, come out to the Soul Crusher training run, like that course. So if you think Frozen Gnome is hard, Soul Crusher is like even like total climbs. Like actually one section, like you can go up and down and you can see, like where you're headed. You're just kind of like up and down next to each other, and you're pretty much crawling on some of them. So yeah, that one's real. You'll probably be running. I might be crawling.
That sounds like a fun time to me.
Yeah. So, so you have some races coming up. What do you think your first ultra will be with Ornery Mule? Do you think it'll be Frozen Gnome?
I think it might be Frozen Gnome, just depending on when that kind of falls next year with scheduling and everything.
Yeah.
But if not, it'll for sure be probably like the Kettle 50K or 100K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the 100K.
Yeah, yes. 50K or 100. Well, because what I'm thinking, probably just kind of take it by steps. So like Kettle 50K, Midwest States has 100K, right? Yeah. And then do Hennepin for the 100.
Oh, that would be so cool.
That's already set in stone. It's happening.
Yeah.
Because Brian is depending on me. So
yeah. So like we need like you, Reese, and Brian all racing each other there.
That's our plan. Brian's like, all right, Kyle.
Yeah.
Why is this still so far away? I'm like,
we'll have to ask Taggart, and maybe 1 year Phil could actually.
Yeah, I've been thinking of him too. Yeah.
Yeah. He I don't know if he'll ever be able to do Hennepin 100 because he helps us the day before.
Oh.
And he has like a store. Like he works really hard on Friday.
Yeah.
He's setting stuff up. I'm always so shocked that he does so well at the 50 the next day because, we're like leaving the setup at 9:30 at night. Then he has to drive to the start line the next morning. But maybe one day he'll do the 100 because that'd be really fun to see all the regular Ornery Mule people out there, the really fast guys out there racing. Okay, well that's cool. That sounds like a good plan. Is there anything else that we should share about the race? We're going to do a recap too.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to give away all the 50K stuff. We'll talk about all those people. Maybe we'll have to maybe we'll ask Reese, he's local, and to talk about that. So we just kind of wanted to share about Kyle, help you guys get to know him more, and the 10K. Is there more that you wanted to share?
No, I guess maybe like just stuff we got coming up, I guess.
Although the last thing I'll share though is your mom's freaking awesome. We all love your mom, and she got to see you finish, and it was. Make sure you go to my Instagram page. I'll show a reel. I haven't posted it yet of Kyle finishing, and if there's a way for us to add it into the video, we might be able to add it into that. And your mom's a huge fan of yours.
Yeah, no, I love my mom more than anything. She's always been there for me. It's. Just like you can't replace a mother's love. Really.
Yeah. And you guys do a lot of races and stuff together, right?
Yeah. No, she's gotten into like hiking and biking and running, and she's been just as supportive of me, and I love it because it's the joy that I get of somebody else joining the community and somebody else close to me, you know, prioritizing their health.
Yeah.
And, you know, when those two things come together, like that's a match made in heaven right there.
Yeah.
So that's like, I couldn't be prouder of her. I'm really happy that she's a part of the community now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Yes. Has she done an Ornery Mule race?
Not yet.
Ooh.
She's looking at Galena.
I was going to say Galena would be fun.
Yeah, we're still talking about that. But if not, she said she is almost certainly doing Frozen Gnome next year.
Oh, yeah. Frozen Gnome is really fun. Although, if it would be this weekend, it would be like 1 degree.
Oh, yeah. No.
And a lot of snow on top of that. So, you did get good weather. But thank goodness. I'm just so glad
it
you
was
got
great
to experience snow because it was so pretty. We do have snow a lot, but we had a couple dry years, so I'm so glad that you got to experience that. So, well, thank you, Kyle, and thanks for coming out. He drove here from Judson, and he's got to get home before the snowstorm comes tonight. So, well, thank you guys for tuning in. I suppose we'll talk about what we have going up. We got the VIP party. What day is that? Like February
3rd.
February 3rd.
Yeah.
You're better than. That's good that you know. So that if you go to ornerymuleracing.com, on the very front page, you can sign up. If you think you've helped us at all at any of our races, then sign up to come to the volunteer party. We're doing a prom theme. So, like, you know, you can wear whatever. If you wanted to wear jeans and a T-shirt to prom, then wear that. But if you wanted to wear a full ball gown and tux, wear that. We'll just have fun. It'll be interesting to see people not in our running clothes. I don't wear a dress. So Nikki will be all glammed out, I'm sure. I'm not sure. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll go try on some dresses, but it seems weird. I just don't wear dresses. So, but I don't know. It might be kind of fun to dress up. And, so we got that. What else do we have? If you go to OMR Run Club on Facebook, like Matt and Danny got a lot that you go to a lot of their runs. How far of a drive is that for you?
About the same. It's probably a little over an hour. Like when they do it in Oregon, it's about a little over an hour.
Okay.
From my house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or from here, either way.
Yeah. They do a great job. They've got they have at least one event every single month out the entire year. And then Megan Veldkamp has been hosting runs up by Mondo Lodge by our Midwest States course. She liked that area so much she actually just moved there because.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And she's been posting pictures. They got a bunch of snow. It's really pretty. Let's see what else. Oh, and then Trish has been hosting runs up on our Kettle course. She does an amazing job. And the runs that she hosts, you know, she's getting 40 people coming. Oh, wow. And those are really fun. So you're bound to find somebody that you can run with. And then, of course, the Mud Club here in Crystal Lake, and we love our Crystal Lake trails. I mean, it's nice. We're like in town. You're right by Starbucks. You're right by the grocery store. We got a big, huge parking lot. It's a safe trail to go out on. You can loop back to your car and get a drink. It's a real, and you can get ready for anything there. Mm-hmm. They're great trails. The Mud Club, they run every single Saturday from the main parking lot at 8 a.m. Is there anything else that I'm missing that we got going on?
No, I think for now that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it, I guess, then. So thank you, Kyle, and thank you, everybody, for listening. And we'll see you again soon.